Okay, all right, I want to get started. So with who is on here, please turn your videos on. I really would love to see all of you guys. We have a lot of info to share with you. I'm going to share my screen in a little bit, but we have quite a few non-agents on here, which is the point. So who wants to raise their hand and tell me a location they want to talk about first, and then we'll talk about what we got into escrow there based on the ones that I listed on the invite. What location and who wants to throw one out there?
San Leandro.
San Leandro, let's go. All right, so who's my San Leandro girl on here? I think it might have been my deal. Who else on here had a San Leandro of my agents? Let's see. I think it might have been my deal. So let me pull it up. It's all right, I'm gonna share my screen. Did you take a moment to look at the sorry about that, the report that I sent over, Erica?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, can you guys see my screen in 2 seconds? 1 second.
Let me go around.
All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Ooh.
Lots of stuff. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but hang on.
We love you.
Yeah, listen, you don't want to see my, okay, there we go. So let's take a look at this. And the children are trying to come in. Shut the door, please. All right, San Leandro, that's the first one. That is Beverly. Let's talk about this. We just sold this one. So the cool thing about this property is it was on the market for a bit. They went into escrow, and of course they wanted much more for the property. And give me 1 second. Sorry, can you guys still see my screen okay? There we go. Oh my goodness. 393. Sorry about that, guys. I should have, yeah. There we go. Dowling. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is the property we just ratified, and they were in escrow and they fell out of escrow. So they were in escrow much more than we were able to get them into contract for. We saw a huge leverage opportunity, obviously, because when the seller falls out of escrow, obviously they're really anxious to get back into contract. And so we quickly made sure that our financing was in order. In fact, Patty is on here. She happened to be the lender on this one. And we made sure our financing was in order and that they could close really quickly. We gave them a short deadline on this, and we did not have to go over list price. So as you can see, this property is dialed in. Easily, it's a 1.6 property. We got it for 1.4 million. Please, everyone, just chime in if you have questions. I'm going to go to the next one, but I just want to show you examples of situations where when there's leverage out there, you really want to stress to the client, obviously, and you really want to tell your agents if there's any, buyers on here. You want to tell your agent, you don't have time to waste. Even though everyone feels like the market is going slow right now, once it comes out of escrow, they're really eager to get back into escrow. So you have a limited amount of time before other people see more leverage in that opportunity. So if I look here, I can show you where this home was on the market, went into contract. Okay, see here these dates. It originally went on the market 1.380. They went pending. This P means pending in May. They went back onto the market. And then we went into contract. They did raise their price from 1.380 to 1.4. They were in contract slightly above 1.4. They came back on the market 5.29. We saw the home and we moved quickly. And we got as much information out of the agent as we could. They had 2 agents on this file. So both of the agents, I don't know if they kind of stopped communicating, but one agent was able to tell me a lot more information than the other one. So you really just want to be asking those right questions and ask them in different languages. I say that all the time. You ask the question one way, you build a rapport, you're talking more, and then you always want to try and ask it in a different way so that to see if they'll give you any bit of leverage. Okay, and then who has the next location they want to look at while I pull up the San Leandro?
Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Sure. Anyone else? All right, so this is the San Leandro market report. Can you guys see this? Okay, I see you shaking your heads. I think everyone's on mute. So medium list price in San Leandro is 868. See how low it's gone in the last probably month or two? Let's see, someone else in the waiting room. I just let you in. There's only, let's see, inventory's at 75. The inventory is actually picking up in San Leandro. So that's a good thing for your buyers, right? But we're seeing average days on market is getting higher. So if you're not sharing these type of reports with your clients, super important. It gives them just a snapshot on what's really happening in the marketplace. And then down here, you can see depending on the type of home, the size of home that it is, look at these days on markets. Look at how much they're climbing, right? Okay, let's talk about the deal from today. Cece, do you want to talk about that deal? And I'll pull it up for you.
Sure. So I was trying really hard to keep up with the numbers for our count because we started at 5 and now we're at 9. And this morning I had recorded 8, but as of an hour ago, we're at 9. So we had some clients that, similar to what happened in San Leandro, there was a home in Montclair, right? So we're talking about Oakland Hills. And that home was listed in June, and it also was about 30-ish days on the market. Got under escrow at the beginning of July, fell out, and we jumped on it the day after it came back on the market on Saturday. So we saw this house on Saturday evening, like 5 o'clock-ish. And then we got everything rolling on Sunday, all the documents together. And we were fortunate enough to really build the relationship with the listing agent to be in communication and making sure that we're on top of what's going on. Because, you know, their seller is stressed too. They've been on the market. They are getting anxious, having feelings about that as well. And they were out of the country, added stress. So we wanted to make it easy for them. And so we got our clients all their paperwork together, all their ducks in a row, submitted an offer, and boom, we've been under contract for an hour. So
Yeah.
we're ready to go.
So I want to say a few more things on that. This is the house that I'm showing you, by the way, guys. So on this one, so understanding some facts about where the seller is at, right? They were in contract before. She didn't want to tell us where they were in contract for, but we asked a few more times and built up a good enough rapport. We had talked to her originally this weekend and, you know, talked to her about, okay, when does your client really want to see an offer? Would it have made sense for us to submit an offer on Saturday? I personally thought no, because whenever you submit an offer on Saturday, no matter what the seller's thinking, they're going to think, oh, well, we're back on the market. Look at how much interest we're getting. Let's just wait. And then they end up shopping your offer. So because we had a good rapport with the agent, Cece and I were like, okay, we trust that she's going to come and let us know. And we know that we have a good offer in terms of our terms. And we knew our clients could stretch up if we really needed to. So CC had a good enough rapport. The agent came back to her and said, hey, I did get an offer Sunday night. So even though we were going to submit later Monday, we sped that up a little bit, but she had already spoke to the lender. So all of that was good. But what was unique about this is she wouldn't tell us where they were at. But then by today, when we talked again and said, hey, we're getting ready to send it to you, we started asking more questions like, we're definitely going to submit. We think, you know, we never want to put too much out there, but we did ask a few questions. And then she ultimately told us, okay, the prior offer was at 1.260. Okay. So when they got the offer on Sunday, she wouldn't tell us where that one was at. But when we told her, hey, our clients, you know, told her more about the clients and stuff, she was able to tell us that she didn't like one of the contingencies that they had. So we immediately knew we had leverage. So we want to make sure that she understands we're going to put something together clean for you. Your client's in Greece. We understand it's super late there, but we knew we had leverage because we knew our clients could go non-contingent, but we didn't tell her that yet. So what we did is we made sure the client's on it. We wanted to make sure, client, what do you want to offer on this home? Like if you had to go your top, what is that? They told us 1.250, that they're comfortable there. Well, we said to them, okay, we're going to prep the offer at 1.250, especially since you can be non-contingent, but do we have your permission to go back and try and play a little bit of hardball since we knew that they had an offer that was contingent on something, and in her words, that I really don't like, which might be a house contingency or an appraisal, right? So we went back to the agent and we said, We went back to the agent and we simply said, hey, so we've got everything ready to go. We're going to send it to you. Do you think 1.2 gets it done? We lowballed a bit verbally, right? I normally don't do a verbal offer, but I wanted to see and cut the time because time kills deals, right? So if he's in Greece, it was already midnight there. I didn't want him to go to bed. So we said, does 1.2 non-contingent get it done? Her reaction told me everything I needed to know. Her reaction was kind of like, well, I think it might. So that wasn't like a hell no, right? So I knew we didn't have to go 1.25 or higher.
Oh, thank you.
Uh-oh. Sorry, did somebody want to say something? Oh, maybe they just weren't on.
Thank you though.
I don't know who that is. Okay, so again, they're on the market at 1060. They were on the market before at 1260 in contract, fell out of contract. They got an offer coming in. It has a contingency they don't like. Cece, why don't you tell them what we were able to ratify at?
We ratified at 1215. And when I told my clients who just saw this house on Saturday and saw it this afternoon, she was saying she felt like she won the sweepstakes because they were prepared to go a little higher than that. And the fact that we did everything in a timely, it was quick. It was a quick turnaround. But we're just taking advantage of the timing. We're taking advantage of the market. We're taking advantage of the conversations that we're having.
Yeah. Yeah, because when Cece was there with them for the second view today, a third potential offer was showing the property. And we knew if we let him go to bed in Greece, right? Because it was already midnight. We knew if we let him go to bed and then he woke up, that other party may have time. So could they have gotten higher than our offer? Probably. But because we were on it and it's non-contingent, it's a bird in the hand. Who wants to pass up that, right? Does anyone have any questions on that one before we go to the next one? Nope. Okay, cool. What's the next one we're going to look at, guys? Team, Jennifer Gayden, which one do you want to talk about? You've put what, 3 into escrow in the past week?
Maybe not 3, 2.
Almost 3. You would have had a third one, but your client decided to not offer, so that wasn't on you, but we would have gotten that one. I know that.
Let's do the Lafayette one.
Okay, what's the street name?
Dewing, Dewing.
DW, that's right. And what was is it this one?
940.
Okay, here we go. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I've been working with my clients for about a month, and they had never written an offer before. So first-time home buyers, not pre-approved. They kind of circled in on saying they wanted to be in the La Miranda area. So we've been looking in Lafayette, Orinda, and Moraga, and they realized finally, like after looking at a few homes, that they wanted to be really close to downtown, so walking distance to coffee shops and bars and restaurants and things like that. So we came across this condo, which is like a block or two from downtown Lafayette. And the day that we went to go see it, loved it. And I went back home and checked on it and it was pending. So it was originally listed for $845 on June 2nd. And then on June 22nd, so after 20 days, they had changed the price to $825. And so I called the agent and I was like, hey, like my clients just saw this property, they love it. She was like, oh, I'm sorry, somebody already got to it, we're pending. And I told her, okay, that's fine, congrats and all of that. But if for some reason this house comes back on, my clients really like it, so let us know. So, we kind of moved on, said on to the next, but she gave me a call right around the 4th of July and said, hey, something happened. We ended up falling out of contract, no fault to the house. So if your clients are interested, let them know. We may be able to make something work. So I asked her, I said, okay, well, can you share little details about where you guys are at, like what the expectations are? Are they expecting more than asking price? And she said, no, they're, we're priced very transparently. This is what we want. So they didn't have any inspections done. So I was like, okay, well, are you okay with us, writing non-contingencies? Writing with contingencies since you don't have any inspection reports and things like that. And she said, yeah, we'd be open to that as well. So I knew we kind of had leverage too, because they had just fallen out. They had been on the market, 25 days. at this point and really just wanted to get something done. So we ended up writing at asking price, so at 825,000. But we asked for a 1% credit back for closing. So basically $8,250. And we kept all contingencies, but we did say we were going to do a 25-day close. They had not been pre-approved yet. So normally I still try and be aggressive with the terms so that, you know, if we're not going to be as aggressive on prices, at least try and be aggressive on terms. But so that's why we wrote 25 days. And so we ended up getting it at 825. They didn't fight us on the credit back. And then once we got through the inspection contingency, we realized some of the work that they wanted done was going to be a little bit more. So we went back to them and were able to negotiate another $8,000 out of them. So that ended up being $16,250 credit that we got back, essentially making the price close to 808, and we appraised in the low 860s. So they definitely felt like they got a deal with this one.
So they walked into equity on top of all of that. So I want to just side note here, Patty, if you could chime in on just how credits work, because the next one I want to go through is an Almaden Valley one that we were able to get a 3% credit to closing costs. But you want to be very careful about how you write the offer and how you translate the closing costs depending on your client. So Patty, if you could take maybe 30 seconds or a minute to tell everyone, what to be careful on and how you write that in there, and whether you do a price reduction or you do a credit to closing costs, how that all works on your end.
Yeah, definitely. So congratulations on all that great negotiation. That was great. So what happens is when you are writing the offer, if your plan is to ask for a credit at the offer stage, you can ask for a credit if it's a primary residence up to 3% of the purchase price. If it's an investment, the rule of thumb is 2%. So 2% of the sales price if they're buying as an investor. So they're not occupying it as their primary. And then for VA loans, which you might see more of in this market, and FHA loans, you can go much higher than 3%. You can cover 100% of what's considered closing costs. That includes taxes and insurance and interest. That includes transfer taxes. Then keep in mind that when you're negotiating that percentage, that's on top of any of the items on your contract that are noted to be paid for by the seller. So one of the clients that your team recently got into contract, they were pleasantly surprised that even though they thought they were getting a $12,500 seller credit, in fact, their credit was closer to $14,000 from the seller side, because in addition to the credit, the percentage, there were items on the contract that were marked to be paid for by the seller, like when you split the escrow fee. So in some cases, now in their case, the difference between the credit and the actual closing cost was only $200. So they're essentially paying $200 out of pocket for closing costs. So in some cases, you might actually have more credit than you need. So let's say the sum of the closing costs, taxes, insurance, interest, everything is, let's say $20,000, but you have a $25,000 credit. So we have $5,000 extra to spend. Well, you can't buy enough home warranties for that. So the first instinct is to say, let's use that money to buy down the interest rate. Now, in your market, 1% of the loan amount on average is going to be $8,000 to $12,000, right? So sometimes I'll tell the client, the lender can tell the client, we can spend.
I just sent the end of this. So if you have any question, please let me know.
We can spend the next, we can spend this $5,000 towards buying down the interest rate, and the cost of buying down the interest rate is $8,000. So we'll say, okay, do they want to do that? And we'll do the math. So let's say you've bought down the interest rate and you've paid for the closing costs, and you still have a little bit of money left over. With this excess, you can reduce the sales price, because the only other alternative would be to give the money back to the seller, which we don't want to do. They've already given it to your buyer. So in original offer, if it's for a primary residence, the general rule would be 3% of the sales price. You can cover 100% of all the closing costs. If it's an investment purchase, it's up to 2% of the purchase price. And for jumbo loans, in some cases with some investors, so when your loan amounts are higher, some of the rules get a little trickier and it's limited to 2%. So pay attention to that. Now, keep in mind that on the verbiage, when you're writing the offer, it's easy because you're asking for a blank credit. In this market, you might find that you're going to get offers accepted with an inspection contingency. What is that? Some people are like, what's that? So you have an offer accepted with an inspection contingency. The inspections come in and you say, wow, wait a minute, we didn't negotiate credits up front, but based on the nature of this report, we'd like to ask the seller to pay $15,000 to the buyer. Now, that credit, when you're negotiating a credit based on any sort of inspections, you want the addendum to say, seller to credit buyer $15,000 towards closing costs. You don't want to say, as a result of this inspection in section A2.256, you don't want to do that because you don't want the lender to get involved with dissecting the home inspection. So if the credit is after the fact, once you're in contract based on an inspection or based on anything uncovered during the appraisal process, you want to make sure that the addendum says seller to credit buyer, X amount of dollars, and just keep it super simple. The lender never needs more information than that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So before we go into the next one, team, let me know what the next one is that I'll look up. Before we go into that, one of the things that I want to speak directly to buyers on this is how can you make sure that you are poised and ready to put in a really good offer, that because time kills deals, right? So if you sleep on it, you're not going to get that opportunity to where they're going to accept with your contingency, appraisal, loan, or inspection, right? Or you're not going to get it at the lower price. That home today, they wanted 1250 or 1260. The only reason we got it to 1.215, honestly, I feel like it's a time thing. Our clients were ready. They had the pre-approval. Everything was ready to go. They were well-versed and understood what it meant, what the contingencies meant. We schooled them on that well ahead of time. In fact, we are always doing that in the first few days of talking to a client. We say, even if you're a year out, we want you to understand the nuances of the market so that any home you go see, for whatever reason, you understand when I say it went non-contingent or it had a contingency on it, you understand what that means and you understand where your leverage is at. Like I think Jennifer mentioned, or maybe it was Cece, when the contingencies are less, maybe you can cut a little bit back on the price. I feel like because we were non-contingent, because it was with a A-grade paper, a good lender, and because they were able to close decently pretty fast, we were able to say to them, hey, you want to take this. So you want to train you as potential buyers in this market. I don't care if you say I'm 6 months out, I want to watch the market fall, I want to watch the sky fall. Make sure you have your ducks in a row with your financing so you're ready, because that opportunity will present itself and it'll be up to you whether you can move as quick. All right, team, what's the next one I should do?
We can do Alameda.
Let's do it. Which property are we looking at?
2811 Bayview.
Bayview. All right, this is you. Take it away. I'm going to pull it up.
All right.
2011 Bayview. Go ahead.
All right. So first off, hi, everyone. I'm Jasmine. I recently got my clients into contract pretty much the first week of July. And this beautiful home that sits right off the lagoon had been sitting on the market for about 55 days. They changed agents, I believe, 3 times. The second time the home sat on the market for 55 days, they did not get what they want. It was at 1.2 million. Then they lowered the price to 925 and we got in smooth at 1 million. What I told my clients to do, we were actually going to come in under 1 million. They actually wanted to offer 1.1. I advised them that I didn't think that was a good idea. Given that I had such a great rapport with the agent, she told me someone else submitted, but they submitted under list price and the seller wasn't too happy. And she was an older woman who, of course, inherited this property and just wanted to actually get rid of it. So I submitted an offer at 980, no contingencies, 20-day close. And Patty's, of course, the lender. She's lender for most of my clients. And come to find out, we submitted it. And they countered us at 1 million even, which is actually my client's budget the entire time. We've had our butts handed to us plenty of times over in Oakland, and this home was perfect for them because the elementary, middle, and high school all ranked 8 and 9 out of 10. They're a young couple. They're hoping to get started. And if you don't know, Alameda is very hard to get into. It's not easy to purchase a home in Alameda without having to deal with fierce competition.
Awesome. Good, good, good. Yes, I think this was like offer number 6 or 7 for them.
No, like 10.
Oh goodness. Yeah.
And
they
all
could've
and
had-
not, yeah, remember they lost like 4 houses. They could
they
have had
could
4
have had
houses.
the first one I remember, they could have had that one. So sometimes it takes them a few times. Okay, I want to respect everyone's time. What's the next one? Let's show another one. While we pull up the next one, this one I can't pull up the details on. Team, tell me the next one in our Discord chat, please. But let me tell you about this one in in Almaden Valley in San Jose in the South Bay. I can't pull pictures because they never made it to market. So it was an off-market opportunity. My clients had seen a property that the contractor and the builder had put on. It was like a major remodel, but it was close to the street. They didn't love it. Well, I talked to the agent. I have a good relationship with the agent. I talked to the agent and said, do you have anything else like that coming up? He said, actually, I do. You know how those goes, but really start asking these questions because agents always have something in their pocket, right? And so sometimes you just have to remind them like, oh yeah, I do have something like that. It's probably like a month out. So he told me about this property. He really hadn't told anyone else about it. He tells me about it. I said, can I take them tonight? Literally that day, he's telling me at like 6 p.m. I said, can I take them tonight? I took them at 7:30. We met there. It was dark. Their kids came with. It was like open walls. It was just not in a state to show it, right? But I told him, trust me, I know my clients. They get it. They like, it'll be fine. Long story short, we go and see this property. They absolutely love it. We write an offer that night. My clients were ready to go. I had already sold their other property. They were living in a hotel. What's interesting about this offer is that easily on the market, even given the times right now, 2, 3, 2, 4 easy. But you never know. And right now people are so nervous and scared about the market that they're even in times where they do have leverage. This was going to be a brand new remodel. They're really nervous about spending too much time on the market. When you have a builder or a major remodel, they want to go somewhere else and get to the next project. So I put an offer together and I just basically said to him, you know, my guys in 2 weeks, they're going to go and rent something because they're feeling like they've been looking for a little bit and they're not finding anything. So I said, so if my clients love this, and mind you, I knew my clients loved it. I said, if my clients love it, they're really going to want to feel like they have the interest rate of like, you know, 2-3 months ago. How do we make that happen? And I kind of just like put it back on him. How do we make that happen? Mind you, I had already had the conversation with the lender, not my client. I talked to the lender first and said, here's the property details, here's the price I'm thinking. Do you think we can do anything as far as buying down the interest rate? What does that look like? So that before I talk to the client about it and get them excited, I have numbers. So this is in the 2-1-2-2 range, right? Long story short, we put a really good offer together, basically non-contingent, except, hey, the home is not done. So we need that inspection contingency. And Patty was able to give me numbers beforehand of, hey, what does an offer look like on this property if I ask them to buy down interest rate? I was able to get them to buy the interest rate down $42,000. So I don't remember the exact numbers. Patty, if you know it, the interest rate was X. We got them to like 4.75. I don't know. Can you give them the numbers?
Yeah, it lowered the interest rate by 75 basis points, which made a major difference in the monthly payment at that loan amount. But more importantly, they had more money left over that they could apply to other closing costs. So it was a really good thing for the buyers and very impressive, Nneka.
Yeah. So what I loved about this is like, what kind of a talk track do you now have with your clients? Or, you know, my talk track with clients is like, listen, if we can go back in time and I can get you that interest rate from 2-3 months ago, would you buy? Because then, you know, unless it's a smoke screen that you're like, oh no, you know, the interest rates are too high. Well, what if we took that off the table? Are you still sitting on the sideline? Right. So I think when you're able to communicate that and you have the tools to do it, it's a game changer. So I feel like, you know, right now, people are saying now, oh, I wish I bought in the beginning of 2020, right? Right in the beginning of COVID, when everyone was not doing anything. What does Warren Buffett say? When people are greedy, how does that quote? Be greedy when people are scared, be fearful when people are greedy, right? Same thing here. Everybody is freaking out about these interest rates. Find a way around it. I'm telling you, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, even when the interest rates are back to normal or whatever, people are going to be like, man, I wish I bought then, right? And that's right now. Okay, what's the next one? What's the next one we're looking at? Huh?
Let's do Campbell.
Okay, you got to tell me the street name. I don't memorize them.
Michael.
Michael, let's do it.
Michael.
You want to start telling people about it and I will pull it up?
Sure. So this is a client that had actually been in my pipeline for a year, really location driven. So she was looking in, I kid you not, like 3 blocks. Okay. And there was almost nothing on the market that suited her tastes, right? She's a very picky buyer, very detail oriented. So when this place came on, it, had been sitting on the market for a little while. Actually, they'd done a price reduction of, I think, 20K. So nothing crazy, but it was kind of obvious that they hadn't gotten the attention that they were expecting, especially with the location. It's walking distance to the prune yard. So I'm sure they were expecting a lot more competition. So we were able to get her in under what they had originally been asking. And we got them to fix a couple things around the place that ordinarily, I mean, last year sellers would have absolutely laughed at us if we had asked them to, repair termite damage, or my buyer, I kid you not, asked us to have the seller replace the outlet covers. And last year we would have been laughed out of the door. Like, you want us to replace the outlet covers, suck it up, but it's different now. Sellers are making concessions that you would not expect. And she walked into some instant equity as we appraised 10,000 over what she paid. And she's super happy.
Yeah, this one was awesome. She's been on the sideline for quite some time. Very cool. Okay. What's the next one? Let's do the next one really quick, just so that if anyone has to jump off, that's fine. We'll send this recording out, but I want to go through the rest of them. Team, what's the next one we need to review?
We can do the Hayward one.
Okay,
It's
what's the street?
Midlothian, Midlothian.
Okay.
So
Why is it not show? Oh, it's a single family.
yeah.
All right. Okay, go ahead.
So this one's in Hayward, Fair Park neighborhood, 94544. My clients were looking to be in the San Leandro Hayward area, kind of as far south as possible. They really wanted a single family home, move-in ready, backyard with parking. So I literally just met them maybe like 7 days before we got into contract. We put in 2 offers in that time frame. The trick that I told them, because they were kind of looking at the top of their range. So I told them, like, you need to be looking at homes that have been sitting on the market for 21 plus days, even if it's a little outside of what you want to pay, like just kind of, look at stuff that's been sitting on the market. So they really took that to heart, started looking at a bunch of properties in that week. So this one was, and I told them, look for stuff that has had price reductions too. So this one was originally listed for $899 on June 3rd. They reduced the price to $825 on June 16th, so after about 13 days. And then we got in contract at asking price for $825, and we kept all contingencies and had a 25-day close. These clients, they were referred to me from a lender, so they were already in the process of getting pre-approved. So that really helped the lender, even though we were the listing agent, even though we were keeping the contingency, I still had the lender reach out and say, hey, like, they're still pretty good to go. We're just waiting on one more condition. So again, like, stressing those terms, like, even though we're keeping the contingencies, making sure that the listing agent still feels confident. And I'm super excited for these clients too, because they were able to use the home buyer, the equity loan that gives you an extra 10% down towards your down payment and closing costs. So not only are they getting this house at $825 when it was originally listed at $899, but they're also getting an extra 10% to put towards it too. So yeah, building some equity early on there too.
Incredible. Patty, if you can take 30 seconds before we go into the next one, can you touch on how the down payment assistance program, and let's speak directly to potential buyers and how they can leverage it, whether they need it or not, and what's out there?
Sure. So for the standard down payment assistance program, the most popular one in California that most people with higher income will qualify for, it's the CalHAFA program. And they give you, there's 2 types of programs. So there's 2 parts to the program. So they're going to give you 3.5% down towards the down payment. And then they're going to give you either 2 or 3% of the loan amount towards closing costs. So you would still benefit significantly from getting a seller credit, even if you're using down payment assistance. You can't buy down the interest rate, but you can reduce the amount of down payment assistance that you're getting from the program, and as a result, significantly reduce your cost and your interest rate. So down payment assistance programs, unless you're qualified for a grant, and unless you're qualified for the 10% forgivable loan, they are really costly. And so in order to shave down some of that cost, your seller credits can be used to offset what they're giving you for the closing costs, and then you don't need half of the program. So I think that's the simplest way to put it. Down payment assistance has restrictions for the income, has restrictions for location in some cases, and also has restrictions for your debt ratio, credit scores, so on. So they cost, if they're giving you 3% of the closing costs, but they're charging you 1.5% of the loan amount for the program, then they're essentially only giving you half of your closing costs. So even if you need down payment assistance, the strategies that Nick and her team are talking about are extremely valuable, because the more money you get from the seller, the less you need from the program, the less your cost will be on the financing, which is really important. One of the reasons why we're seeing the ability to have these negotiations is because the interest rates are creating a higher, obviously, payment. So there's less competition. When inflation stabilizes and those rates go down, when the demand goes back up, the prices are going to go back up, and we're going to lose this opportunity. So that's why there's a sense of urgency. And to Cece's point, you still have to act quickly to make it happen.
Right, right. Okay, so what's the next one, team? And I'll prep that one. What's the next one we should go over?
We have Felicia in Oakland for
Oh.
567 Oakland Ave.
Yes. Is that the one from 2 days ago? She's not on
Mhm.
here though. So we can't speak to, I don't know too much of the details on that one. Let me just go through, Cece, if you can look to see which one is the next one. Let me just share the few market reports for the ones we just went over. This is Hayward, median list price. See how it ticked up, 949. So if we look at average days on market, it's pretty relative, but it did tick up a little bit. And then the inventory is 147. So quite a bit, in my opinion, quite a bit of inventory. It's actually trending upwards. And then in the different quartiles, the one we spoke about was more in this range, if not this one. The days on market are creeping up. So Campbell was one we spoke on. Let's see, Campbell. Median list price in Campbell is $1.8 million. So that townhome, which was, Catherine, what was the townhome again? 8 something? You're on mute, love.
She paid $960.
She paid $960 for a townhome that's pretty much move-in ready, really, really cute inside, open concept. Yeah, really good. Inventory is 38 on the market right now. And let's see what the average days on market. It's actually trending downwards a bit, and median days on market is a little bit lower. So, all right, let's see. And we did speak on San Leandro, which we went over. San Jose, we ran it for the 95120. That was Almaden Valley. That's the one I told you we bought down the interest rate by $42,000. Again, if the net is going to be the same and both people, it's kind of, you come to a number, it doesn't matter. The sellers don't care, like especially a seller like that. They just want to see, what's my bottom line? What am I going to walk away from? So you want to do your homework and talk to the lender, or buyers, you want to do your homework and say, if I find a property and I want to get my interest rate to 2 months ago because I'm going to be there for 10 years or 20 years, what does that number look like for me? That's how you can go about getting some really good things into contract. Median list price is 2.2. Let's see, inventory is 43, trending a bit upwards. Days on market is decreasing a little bit. It stabilized right here, but it decreased quite a bit. And that's for Almaden Valley. Not a ton of inventory there though. All right, what's the next one, team? Any others? Does anyone have any questions on some of these, or anyone written any offers in certain areas and see any leverage opportunities we can share? This is a quiet group, really? Okay, so let me see what else we got in. that we can speak to?
Question.
Yeah, Patty, go ahead, please.
So are you guys seeing that in those negotiations that the time frame matters as much as it did? So we know there's flexibility with contingencies. We know that there's, you can ask for closing costs. Are you still seeing that it's valuable to offer with an 18-day or a 20-day close? I don't know if I've heard that being talked about enough. We're talking about all the benefits of getting money back, but is it still as valuable in your process to ask for the money and assure them a quick close? How important is that to sellers right now? Because I'm assuming that they're a little on edge.
That's such a good question. And I would love someone else to chime in as well. I feel like, yes, Jasmine, I see you. I feel like in general, people got used to in the recent year, they got used to things not closing on time. So they've backed off from being aggressive about it must close quick, right? But I think where you have to think about that is people are very, very particular about the assurance that it will close.
Right.
So then when I'm talking to the agents, I'm reminding them time kills deals. I'm even telling my buyers, you want a quicker close. Anything can happen on the seller side. Unfortunately, we've had sellers that passed away during escrow. 2 of my agents have had sellers pass away. You want to close it up as quick as possible so people can move on with their lives. Jasmine, go ahead.
I actually wanted to point out that cash is in beforehand. A lot of people were submitting cash offers and they weren't being accepted. Well, recently I tried to submit an offer in Novato for $15,000 under list price. It was sitting on the market for a while and we did not get it, but they wanted us to come up to at least 415 and be in second place. The offer that beat us out came in about 15,000 over list price, all cash, but they had a longer close. So to answer your question, I don't think sellers really care about how long it takes to close. They just honestly want their price. And if that second offer wouldn't have came in, because like you said, time kills deals, my client could have got in and we probably would have won the condo for 400,000 cash, 12-day close. And then we only added on an inspection contingency because he's really anal about it, but we actually could have went non-contingent because it didn't really matter. He was paying cash anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too, but that's great feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. And speaking of, I think this is speaking directly to the buyers. And then if no one else has any other questions, we'll let you guys go. I think the conversation that the lender is having with the agent is super critical because to me as a listing agent, when I'm dealing with the house and it's my seller, especially in times like right now, it's not just as easy to say, are they well qualified? Okay, cool. Thanks. Bye. It's like, hey, when's the last time you talked to them? Do they understand that the interest rate just changed? When do you plan to lock their rate? Are you locking it tonight? Are you locking it in the morning? Is there going to be a change? Because Patty and I just got one in last week. And literally, if we didn't, I was pushing the listing agent and saying, listen, I'm not here to rush you, but if you don't ratify tonight, my lender needs to lock in the rate by 8:30 a.m. And if they don't, that changes my client's purchase price capability. And that might change our offer. So not here to rush you, but I need you to move along quickly. So again, as a listing agent, or for you clients, make sure your agent is talking to the agent about, the interest rate changes and all of that, so that that they know that you're kept in the loop of what the changes are happening with the interest rate so that they don't worry about your ability to close. I think reassuring people that you will close is the biggest thing as buyers. So the cleaner you are, the cleaner the contingencies are. Right now, the agents are dictating this market. We're putting contingencies on there where we can. But if you have an opportunity like today with Cece's client to get in $35,000 below what they wanted, and $45,000 below what they were in contract for, and your client or you as a client, you're able to go non-contingent. I would go non-contingent if I'm sure, so that I could save $45,000 any day. So it's understanding the levers that you can pull on. Anyone else have anything? Sweet. Well, we're gonna keep doing little quick sessions like this. Sorry, it ran a little bit over, but we're recording this so we can send it to everyone. But we just wanted to share with you some live and real examples of what's happening in the market right now and how much leverage you have. And we went over at least 7 different cities, and I sent all of the market reports. I think Alameda and Lafayette was missing, so I'll send those as well. But we just need to be having this conversation more because buyers really can win in this market.
Becca, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
While many agent teams were in shock about the shift in the market and reacting to the headline news, your team quickly pivoted. And I think that we really need to highlight that for anyone listening. You know, study long, study wrong, right? If you sit down and you mope around and you say the market is changing, I don't know what to do, I'm gonna get lost, I have no idea, everything's going to shit, the world's blowing up, my gas is too high, everything gets fucked up, you know? But in this particular case here, you immediately shifted your focus, you immediately pivoted, and everyone said, we're gonna make this a killer situation for our buyers and share it and be transparent with the whole community about it. And I'm highlighting that I have no incentive to say that other than it's just not what the majority of realtors are doing out there. So I'd love to applaud you guys for that. The ability to pivot and then the ability to create massive opportunities for buyers is just a huge reason why you guys are so successful. So congratulations for that.
Thank you. I appreciate you. That was very kind. We really do love what we do. We have like meetings every morning and like everyone's smiling and happy. It's weird. So anyway, team, thank you guys for being here and inviting people. We will share this recording. Have any questions, just message us, but we'll do another one when we get another 10 or 9 contracts into escrow in a week, which will be next week, right? All right, bye guys.